Do you think you have to be an extrovert to be successful? What if I told you that some of the most famous names you know, from Albert Einstein to J.K. Rowling, shared one common trait? They were all introverts who used their quiet nature as their greatest weapon. The world often tells us that to get ahead, you need to be loud, relentlessly social, and always the first to speak. We're shown images of charismatic leaders giving powerful speeches and energetic entrepreneurs networking in crowded rooms. But this is only one side of the story. There is a quieter path to success, a path walked by some of the most influential people in history. They didn't succeed in spite of their introversion. They succeeded because of it. They learned to harness 3 quiet superpowers that extroverts often overlook. These aren't just personality traits. They're strategic tools that can build empires, change the course of science, and create entire worlds. The first superpower is deep focus. This isn't just about avoiding distractions or liking a quiet room. It's a fundamental difference in brain chemistry. An introvert's brain is more sensitive to a neurotransmitter called dopamine, the chemical that gives us a feeling of reward. Extroverts need a lot of external stimulation, like social events or big group activities to get their dopamine fix. For introverts, too much of that same stimulation feels overwhelming, like trying to drink from a fire hose. Because of this, introverts are naturally drawn to calmer environments where they can control the level of input. This is their secret weapon. In the quiet, their minds are free to wander, to connect disparate ideas, to sink into a state of intense concentration that is almost impossible to achieve in a noisy, open-plan office. Think of Albert Einstein. His revolutionary ideas about space, time, and gravity didn't emerge from a lively brainstorming session. They were born in the sanctuary of his own mind, during long, solitary hours spent with nothing but a pen, paper, and his thoughts. Imagine him in his office, not frantically working, but deeply immersed in a thought experiment, visualizing what it would be like to ride on a beam of light. This ability to shut out the world and live inside a problem is the hallmark of introverted genius. He wasn't just avoiding noise. He was creating the mental space necessary for a breakthrough that would forever change how we see the universe. This deep focus is what allowed him to see what no one else could. We also see this power in the world of filmmaking with someone like Steven Spielberg. While his movies are grand epic spectacles, Spielberg himself is known to be a quiet, introspective person. His magic doesn't happen on the chaotic film set itself, but in the months of meticulous, solitary preparation. He storyboards almost every single shot of his movies himself. This is a quiet, deeply focused process where he directs the entire film in his head, long before the cameras start rolling. This level of detail and foresight is only possible through hours of uninterrupted concentration, allowing him to craft the iconic, emotionally resonant scenes that have defined cinema for generations. So how can you use this superpower? Start by creating your own focus sanctuary. This doesn't have to be a separate room. It can be a specific time of day, like early in the morning, before anyone else is awake. It can be a pair of noise-canceling headphones. The goal is to intentionally build a bubble of quiet, where your mind can do its best work, free from the constant pings and interruptions of the modern world. Guard that time and space fiercely, because it's where your best ideas will be born. The second superpower is observation. While extroverts are often engaging in conversation, introverts are typically taking a step back and watching. This can be misinterpreted as shyness or disinterest, but in reality, it's a form of active intelligence gathering. They are scanning the room, noticing body language, listening to the words people choose, and picking up on the subtle social cues that others miss. They are not just hearing, they are listening. They are not just looking, they are seeing. An introvert's brain doesn't just skim the surface of information, it processes it more deeply. This means that when they observe something, they are more likely to analyze it, connect it to past experiences, and store it away for future use. The perfect example of this is J.K. Rowling. The idea for Harry Potter didn't strike her while she was speaking at a conference or leading a group discussion. It came to her on a delayed train trip from Manchester to London. She was sitting alone, quietly gazing out the window. She watched the English countryside roll by, the entire world of a boy wizard, a magical school, and a battle between good and evil downloaded into her mind. She wasn't interacting with anyone. She was simply observing her surroundings and letting her imagination do the work. The characters and ideas that poured into her head were a direct result of all the quiet moments she had spent watching people, listening to their stories, and noticing the little details of life. She was a master observer, and that is what made her world-building so rich and believable. This power isn't limited to artists. Consider Jane Goodall, the scientist who revolutionized our understanding of chimpanzees. When she first went to Goomba, Tanzania, she didn't charge into the forest and try to interact with the chimps directly. That would have scared them away. Instead, she spent months and then years just sitting. She would find a high peak, take out her binoculars, and simply watch. She observed them from a distance with incredible patience, quietly taking notes. Through this silent, sustained observation, she noticed things no scientist had ever seen before: that chimps use tools, that they had complex social structures, and that they had distinct personalities. Her world-changing discoveries were not born from loud experiments, but from the profound power of quiet observation. To tap into this superpower yourself, try a 10-minute observation challenge. Once a day. Go somewhere: a park bench, a coffee shop, or even just looking out your window. For 10 minutes, put your phone away and just watch. Don't judge, don't analyze right away. Just notice: what are people doing? What sounds do you hear? What details do you see that you've never noticed before? You'll be amazed at the amount of information you can gather when you simply stop and observe the world around you. The third superpower is deliberate action. In a world that celebrates speed and being busy, the introverts' natural tendency is to think before they speak and to look before they leap. This isn't hesitation, it's strategy. Because their energy is more easily drained by external activity, introverts are naturally skilled at conserving it. They instinctively know they can't afford to waste it on meaningless tasks or half-baked ideas. Therefore, when they do decide to act, their actions are often more focused, purposeful, and effective. Extroverts might thrive on a fail-fast mentality, jumping from one thing to the next. Introverts, on the other hand, prefer to prepare slow, act right. They run dozens of simulations in their minds, weighing the pros and cons and considering all possible outcomes before making a move. Warren Buffett is the embodiment of this superpower. He is one of the wealthiest and most successful investors of all time, yet his daily routine would look incredibly boring to an outsider. He doesn't spend his day in frantic meetings or glued to the flashing numbers on a stock ticker. He spends up to 80% of his workday reading and thinking. He famously said, "You only have to do a very few things right in your life, so long as you don't do too many things wrong." This is the introvert's anthem. He waits patiently, sometimes for years, for the perfect investment opportunity to come along. While others are chasing trends and making impulsive decisions, Buffett is in his office, quietly reading, thinking, and waiting for the right moment to take deliberate, decisive action. His immense wealth was not built on speed, but on profound patience and thought. This power can also ignite massive social change. Think of Rosa Parks. Her famous refusal to give up her seat on the bus in 1955 is often portrayed as the act of a simple, tired woman. But that's not the whole story. Rosa Parks was a seasoned activist and secretary of the local NAACP chapter. She was a quiet, dignified, and deeply thoughtful person. Her action that day was not an impulsive whim. It was the result of years of observation, quiet frustration, and a deep-seated conviction. It was a deliberate, calculated action from a person who understood the weight of her decision. Her quiet strength and purposeful defiance sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and became a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. It proves that one deliberate, well-chosen action can be more powerful than 1,000 loud speeches. To cultivate this superpower, practice the think, plan, act model. Before jumping into a new project or making a big decision, give yourself permission to pause. First, think deeply about the goal and the potential outcomes. Second, create a simple plan with clear steps. Finally, and only then, act with focused energy. This prevents you from wasting your valuable energy on false starts and ensures that when you do make your move, it counts. These aren't just personality quirks, they're strategic advantages. The ability to focus deeply, observe keenly, and act deliberately are the secret weapons of the quiet and thoughtful. But there's one final, more surprising secret that links almost all successful introverts. A hidden trait that allows them to thrive in a world that seems designed for extroverts. These three powers, focus, observation, and deliberate action, are the the core of the successful introvert. But there is a fourth and perhaps most crucial secret that links almost all of them. It's the secret to how they manage the one thing introverts fear most, the spotlight. This final secret is what I call the passion shield. Successful introverts don't suddenly become extroverts. They don't learn to love small talk or crave attention. Instead, they find a mission, a cause, or a passion that is so important to them, it becomes bigger than their fear. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. By his own admission, he was painfully shy. He had extreme stage fright and was a terrible public speaker in his early years. He would rather write for hours than speak for 5 minutes. But his passion for the independence of his country was so overwhelming, it forced him onto the world stage. When he spoke to massive crowds, he wasn't performing. He was serving his mission. The mission became a shield, protecting him from the anxiety of the spotlight. His focus wasn't on himself, but on the message. This is the key. They aren't speaking to be seen. They are speaking because something needs to be said. They aren't leading to be in charge. They are leading because a problem needs to be solved. Their passion allows them to step out of their comfort zone, not because it feels good, but because it feels necessary. These 4 powers: deep focus, observation, deliberate action, and the passion shielder, the quiet tools that built empires and changed the course of history. But what the history books don't tell you is that each one of these quiet strengths comes with a hidden danger. A breaking point where the very thing that makes them powerful is the thing that leads to their total collapse.